On November 5th, Americans will elect their next president. The contest will feel familiar. The main two candidates are the same as in 2020. Joe Biden, the incumbent, faced no viable competition for the Democratic nomination. His predecessor in office, Donald Trump, easily saw off a crowded field in the Republican primary. This will be the first rematch election in almost 70 years. After Mr. Trump lost the previous election, his supporters tried to overturn the result. He faces federal charges over his alleged participation in that scheme, as well as 3 other criminal cases. Mr. Biden's presidency has been defined by high inflation, vague industrial policy bills, and turmoil abroad, in Afghanistan, Ukraine, and the Middle East. Both men are unpopular. The election will be less a popularity contest than a referendum on which man Americans think is the least bad option. The Economist is tracking the contest. Here you can find the latest polls, though it should be noted that pre-election polls have limited predictive power for the final result until the end of the summer in an election year. If you are interested in contests elsewhere, visit our UK election poll tracker. And for American election terms, wonkish and whimsical, explained in plain English, CRAZ of US politics. The 650 members of the UK House of Commons are elected by first past the post, where the candidate with more votes than any other wins the seat. The UK has 5-year terms, and at the December 2019 election Boris Johnson led the Conservatives to a thumping victory. Much has changed since 2019, with Johnson replaced as PM by Liz Truss in September 2022, then Truss was replaced by Rishi Sunak in October 2022. Labour has led in UK national polls since late 2021, with their lead blowing out during Truss' short stint as PM. While the Conservatives recovered some ground under Sunak, they have not been in a competitive position since Johnson was PM. The Politico poll of polls currently has Labour on 43%, the Conservatives on 24%, the far-right Reform on 12%, the Liberal Democrats on 10%, the Greens on 5% and the Scottish National Party on 2%. The last 2 national polls, which were conducted after a scandal involving a Conservative donor accused of racism, gave Labour 23 and 26-point leads. The electoral calculus seat forecast in late February, based on estimated vote shares in polls of 43.1% Labour, 25.2% Conservative, 9.9% Lib Dems, 10.2% Reform, 5.9% Greens and 3.2% SNP, was a massive Labour landslide, with Labour winning 455 of the 650 seats, to 113 Conservatives, 40 Lib Dems and 18 SNP. The Conservatives have also lost 6 of the last 7 by-elections in Conservative-held seats since July 2023, 5 to Labour and 1 to the Lib Dems. In many of these losses, there were massive swings. Sunak can call a general election at any time, but it is likely to be held in late 2024, though it could be delayed until January 2025.